Hi, everybody. It's Tim Constantine from the Washington Times, joined as I always am by my good friend, Dave Bozell. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
Good. I want you to speak for America today because I'm looking around the world.
Yeah.
And, we see trouble in Gaza and we see discussions going on where there could be trouble in Iran. We see trouble in Ukraine. We're in this trade war with China. And it boils down to what should the U.S. role be on the global stage? What do we owe to our own citizens and what do we owe to the rest of the world?
Well, first and foremost, we owe peace and security to our own citizens. That's for starters. To the rest of the world, as Donald Trump has said a multitude of times, this war would not have started if he were president back in 2020 between Russia and Ukraine. It does seem fairly imminent that through the president's leadership and through the negotiation prowess of his team, led by Secretary Rubio, that there might be a peace agreement in store, ending this war and saving countless thousands of lives. With Gaza, we talked early on about in his administration about reshaping Gaza and using Middle East partners to do that instead of the terrorist haven that it is today. I think where America's role in the world is most important is in the life-saving business. If we can use our leverage, whether militarily or diplomatically, to save lives, I think that is imminently in United States interests.
What's an interesting challenge is I was speaking maybe 2 years ago. I was giving a speech in Turkey, and it was a largely Middle Eastern audience. And at the end, I did some Q&A with the crowd. And the first gentleman gets up and he's a little frustrated. And he says, why does America think it has to put its nose in everything? All over there. Why are you even involved in this part of the world? And so I did my best to answer his question. But the second person stands up and has, I don't recall the specifics of the issue now, but had an issue that the United States had not recognized, was doing nothing on. And he wanted to know, why isn't the United States involved in this? I said to the audience, therein lies the problem. If you like what's going on, you think, oh, the U.S. should help with this. And if you don't like what's going on, why are those crazy nuts from the West doing this? And so I always am fascinated by how human nature is whatever works for you or whatever works for me, that changes the opinion so often.
Yeah, that's why I think the tiebreaker should be that we should be in the life-saving business. I mean, there are regions across the world that are just predestined and have been fighting some of these conflicts for centuries, for thousands of years. And you like to, every administration tries to find an end, has their own version of a Middle East peace accords. And they may last a few years until they crumble. But I do think that the United States has a moral obligation to be in the life-saving business. I'm not necessarily a huge proponent of being in the spreading of democracy seeds business, as you saw, largely in the Bush administrations, both of them. Again, the tiebreaker, I think, is being in the life-saving business. If there are unnecessary deaths going on, particularly with one of our allies, to the extent that we can use our leverage to prevent loss of life, is a good use of our resources and time.
You and I are of the same generation. And during Reagan's years, particularly when he was running for office the first time, those who opposed Ronald Reagan referred to him as a warmonger. Yeah. I remember that phrase, oh, he's a warmonger. Right. And yet, when he ran for re-election in 1984, he used the term peace through strength, because there was unprecedented peace around the globe, and it was America's power and might and firm stance that had done that. Fast forward to 2025, and we see the people that are not big fans of Donald Trump saying, oh, he causes chaos everywhere he goes. Is that accurate, or is Donald Trump and his strong message the right guy to bring about peace in these various locations around the world?
Well, particularly in the Asian, in the Pacific regions, his diplomatic style with Japan, China, folks in those regions, is an asset that no other administration, no other chief executive has had, largely because of his business experience, and probably underreported largely because of his love of golf. And he just knows how to interact with these executives from those regions. Look, he's more measured than people give him credit for. I remember during Trump 1.0 when we had a drone shot down over Iranian skies or close to Iranian skies. And there was a lot of saber rattling going on coming out of DOD at that time, out of Washington. Certain sectors in Washington wanted to retaliate. And he just kind of shrugged his shoulder. He said, okay, it's a robot. All right. So, what would be the equal amount of reaction that to a robot being blasted out of the sky? So he could have retaliated. That could have resulted in loss of human life. But I think his better angels say it's just not worth it. You want to try to take a pot shot at a robot? I'll let you do that once. We're not going to let you do that twice. And it never happened twice.
For America, he is Under Secretary of State Dave Boesel. I'm Tim Constantine from the Washington Times. Thanks for joining us.